Good morning, everyone. And good morning, everyone at home watching. Given that we've seen flowers as we entered, and we've gotten a big hint about what might be happening. It's all good. It's all good. Because there's not much hint as to what could be in here from the way this sounds. So, if you want to use your wondering mind that you've brought with you here today to help all of us learn and grow together, what do you think might be in this wonder box? Yes? I didn't hear what you said. Did you say flowers? Flower petals, yeah. Any other guesses besides flowers? Yes? Seeds, yes. Soil, all related items, I think. And yes, it is some flowers. I know. Some days we're very surprised, other days not. This is not one of those days. So, can I get some helpers to bring forward the beautiful flowers that we have collected this morning? Let's bring those forward. Today, we celebrate a uniquely UU ritual, the flower ceremony. This ritual was created by the Reverend Norbert Čapek, who founded the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia in the 1920s. Many of you, look at these, they are gorgeous. Yeah, let's put them up here so we can all see. Yay, and they can go down low too. Yeah, I think just a few people brought some flowers this morning. And we have gathered them into these beautiful bouquets. And these flowers, each different, each unique, symbolize how each of us, with all of our differences, each of us having different contributions to make, come together in community. And as we gaze upon these flowers, may we be blessed by their beauty. And may they remind us of the diversity of life, of the diversities of knowledge and gifts we all bring. And in their unity, gathered here as they are in these groups, may they show us that all of us are needed to do the work of peace and justice in this world. So we are going to put these into baskets and pass them back out to you. So even if you did not bring a flower with you today, we urge you to take one home. Select one that speaks to you. Take it in good care, knowing that someone else brought it especially for you. By exchanging flowers, we show our willingness to be together in community. All right, I think we have a slideshow to look at while we do this. And I'm going to send these back out to you.
When I say the word creativity, what is the first thing you think of? Go ahead and shout it out. Inspiration, I heard not me. What was that? Challenging. Change. All right. Coloring. We're going to keep going. What else? Poetry. Most of the time, when we think about creativity, we think about art. Creative people paint, draw, sculpt, or produce other works of beauty that make us think, feel, and wonder. But science and engineering also take creativity. Scientists and engineers study aspects of our world and use creativity to solve humanity's problems. They combine facts in different, often new or obscure ways to help us understand, see, or be in relationship with the natural world in ways we were not before. In the psychological text, Human Motivation, Robert E. Franken describes creativity as, quote, the tendency to generate or recognize ideas, alternatives, or possibilities that may be useful in solving problems, communicating with others, and entertaining ourselves and others, end quote. Franken goes on to say that there are 3 reasons why people are motivated to be or are fed by creativity. 1, the need for novel, varied, and complex stimulation. We often come to a UU congregation to hear, learn, or see something new, meet new people, make new connections, and learn a little bit more about spirituality and life. 2, the need to communicate ideas and values. We are in community, having several concurrent relationships with the individuals and holding that relationship that allows for the co-creation of Unitarian Universalism that happens whenever we gather. As we discover new ideas about our lives and our beliefs, we are in covenant that asks us to share those thoughts and discoveries. We often must practice creativity in that communication, especially when we feel that we are not being heard. Often we can find new ways to communicate and hear one another so that we can reach greater understanding. It also exists so that we can be an institutional carnation of Unitarian Universalism and spread our values of hope, love, justice, courage, and joy throughout Texas, the South, and the world. The moral imperative to communicate the core values of Unitarian Universalism does indeed take creativity. And 3, the need to solve problems. We need to rely on our creativity to make new ideas, put those together in new novel ways, and solve our problems. You may be able to think of any number of problems that you have felt or experienced here in our congregation. I personally think it is more important to focus on the foundational questions first, which can lead us into more creativity towards solving any functional issues we may encounter. What are our core values? What do we worship when we worship? What is the point of you coming here this morning? How should we treat one another? Are we being who we say we are? How do we make the world a better place? How do we work together to make a positive difference in people's lives? Through these questions, we can generate new possibilities or new alternatives for how we gather together for the work that calls us. One thing we haven't mentioned so far is how creativity takes courage. If a new and novel idea appears and a new solution to a problem appears because of it, that action potentially creates a great change. Creativity transforms both the creator and the culture in which the creator exists. And in these varied definitions of creativity, learning new things, finding new ways to communicate, solving problems, and making change, we find anxiety. We may learn or see unsettling things, triggering truths. We may not feel heard and seen all of the time. We may encounter difficult, entrenched cultural problems. We may be afraid of the unknown, of what change means, of letting go of things we love from our past. And in this way, creativity requires courage. Creativity and courage are intimately linked. It takes courage to express yourself in new ways, to put yourself out there, to seek new connections, to have new ideas. It takes courage to open yourself up to the love of this community and to face the possibility and the hurts and the slights that come with being in relationship, being involved with other human beings and a human created group and institution. It takes courage to trust each other. It takes courage to push through that anxiety, to face our fears, and to live into a reality that looks very different than the one we have known. During trauma, when anxiety is high, and it is very high in this congregation, creativity shuts down. We become unable to learn new things, to try new ways of being. We become unable to make decisions. We become unable to find a way through. We go into survival mode. Trauma interferes with creativity by disconnecting you from your authentic selves, vulnerability, trust, passion, and playfulness. Trauma interrupts our curiosity, our commitment to ourselves, our congregation, our core values, and one another. Trauma shows up in our creative spaces as a quest for external validation. It goes like this. The UUA needs to tell us if we are right or wrong. It shows up as feeling stuck, feeling like we are going around in circles, not able to solve problems, or possibly identify what the problem even is. It shows up as feeling endlessly confused and unable to access the myriad of talent and skills that exist in the congregation. It looks like fighting about trivial things, policy, bylaws, how the order of service should go, how many sign-in sheets we have at the back. I'm sure you have your own example. It looks like criticism and feedback sending us into an emotional whirlwind where no one can be heard. It looks like feeling as if the congregation is lost or a waste or falling apart or dying. If we take courage, though, and we reclaim our creativity, we can transform those feelings into gratitude, positivity, and hope. We can realize that we aren't dying, we are becoming. And sometimes things need to die to be born again new. Norbert Chopek was enduring one of the greatest traumas ever to befall the human race, and yet he had the creativity to make something beautiful, a ritual which gave people meaning. This is one of the purposes of religion, to help people regulate, survive, make meaning, and get back to creativity in one another. Psychologists have identified characteristics of creative individuals and groups. I know that if we intentionally weave these into our congregation, we can reclaim our creativity and move forward from this trauma. Creative groups have time when they are intentionally focused on spending energy, and also they make time for quiet and rest, even if it feels uncomfortable. Even if your anxiety says we have to fix this thing right now, you don't have to. You can let it rest. Please rest. Creative groups tend to be smart, yet also naive at the same time. We must always trust what we are, what we know, but never think we have all the answers. Creative groups have a combination of playfulness and discipline. There are times to be serious, and there are lots of times to be silly. Be silly, it's okay. Creative groups alternate between imagination and fantasy at one end, and rooted in a sense of reality at the other. We need stories, narratives, and myth, and we need them to be informed about the world we live in. Creative groups are very passionate about their work, yet they can be extremely objective about it as well. We know that our mission is based on the needs in Georgetown and are clear and realistic about how to accomplish that mission. And finally, creative groups are open and delight in the full spectrum of life. the lows and the highs. It is our time. It is our time to chart a course for moving into the future, open to the full spectrum of life, both that we have experienced and that is yet to be. Be brave. Feelings are not forever. This will pass. Gather courage. Open your hearts to the love and gratitude that we cultivate here. I know you are loved because I love you. Today, we are enough. Today, you are enough. Together, tomorrow, we will be more. Amen, and blessed be.